like to be framed well.
I think it's because you're like kind of slouched sometimes, but then occasionally you like straighten up and then you aren't.
You saying I slouch?
Yeah.
The soundtrack to a video game can be one of the most important factors in tying together the entire experience. Its job is to set the tone for you, the player, in the experience and adventure that you're about to have. The feeling of action, adventure, suspense, and much more than that. But what I want to focus on today is atmosphere, particularly on the N64, which is not a surprise. That's what I do here. Play the new intro thingy. Okay, let's get this show on the road. So what exactly is the definition of atmosphere? You could say, oh, it's the thing around the planets, it's what got destroyed when the meteorite struck and killed all the dinosaurs. Yeah, but that's not what we're talking about today. Atmosphere is the pervading tone or mood of a place, situation, or work of art. It stems from two Greek words, atmos, which means vapor, and spheria, which means ball or globe. Bringing those words together in modern Latin translates to atmospheria, which morphed into the term atmosphere around the mid-17th century. Okay, that's enough classroom talk for today. Let's talk about why we're really here. The Nintendo 64, being a console that in retrospect had pretty limited hardware, sets up a really interesting foil for how different developers would go about making their music and setting the tone and atmosphere in a game. So what I wanted to do today was go over some of my personal favorite tracks that set some really specific atmospheric tones across the N64's library. Okay, let's get started. When talking about atmospheric music, it may be a bit confusing as to why Super Smash Bros. Is making the list. This game is known to be a non-stop action fighter that exudes a chaotic nature. However, there is one track that sticks out among the rest of the vibrant and energetic tunes. It's the menu music. It has this very passive nature to it. There are these small hints of notes bouncing around, but not quite leading the song, just dancing around the outside of it. And during this, a deep bass tone drones on with this ominous sound. I picture this being the moment right before entering a match. It gives that feeling of anticipation, a moment for the player to take a deep breath and really gather their surroundings before going headfirst into a big fight. When it came to picking out a song from Rayman 2, it was honestly a really hard choice. The whole soundtrack to this game has this wonderful, beautiful ambience to it. But for this video, I narrowed it down to the song Woods of Light. Being the first level, it lays the groundwork and sets the tone for the rest of the game. Usually first levels tend to be bouncy and exciting to get the player amped up for a new adventure. Rayman, however, sets the stage a bit differently. There's this sense of mystic and wonder as you trek through the foggy, quiet forest. It all alludes to this larger, mysterious setting of a game that takes you across forests, swamps, caverns, and temples. Instead of fearlessly leaping into action, it evokes a sense of caution as you emerge from the woods to begin your long, winding journey. Mario Kart 64 does a really good job of giving you that feeling of excitement as you're drifting around corners, avoiding shells, and getting that first place trophy by the skin of your banana peel. Except one course stops you dead in your tracks. It's Banshee Boardwalk. I used to hate this course as a kid. It was dark, ominous, and a nightmare to navigate. I've come to love it over the years, especially due to its off-kilter music. It feels like the song is almost creeping around you, just like the boos that float in and out of the fog around the track. There's something foreboding about this song, giving off that same uneasy feeling of deception and unease that the ghost houses in the Mario series are known for. You know, I didn't really associate this level with the ghost houses from all the other Mario games until I was making this video, which doesn't make any sense because I don't know what else it would be based off of. But now knowing that, it only makes me like the course even more. Now these next couple of tracks focus less on the music and more of the absence of it. In Banjo Kazooie, Treasure Trove Cove is a sandy beach with an upbeat and dancing theme, perfect for looting pirate ships, avoiding sharks, and leaping into treasure chests. Eventually you reach a part in your adventure where you manage to clamber your way to the top of the island. And suddenly all of the music stops. All that you hear is the breeze flying by and the occasional seagull. It nails this feeling of the player being far above the rest of the world, looking out into the beyond with nothing but the wind blowing around you. Super Mario 64 does a very similar move in its own respect. When you first start the game and it drops you in the castle courtyard, all you hear are the birds chirping and the distant sounds of the rushing waterfall. So when people played Mario 64 for the first time, it was a lot to take in because suddenly you had all this space, you could go any direction you wanted. So setting the player up with something that gives them a moment to kind of breathe and take it all in and adjust to it is a perfect way to start your game. Alright, we've reached our final track for this video, and we're going to lean on one of Nintendo's most musically proficient franchises, in my opinion, The Legend of Zelda. More specifically, Ocarina of Time. For being one of the most popular Zelda games, let alone one of the most popular games of all time, Ocarina of Time, surprisingly, has a predominantly atmospheric soundtrack. It plays well to it. What Mario 64 was able to achieve with its upbeat and exciting music, Ocarina of Time managed to get on the other side of bringing in ambient, atmospheric, and mood-setting sounds that were more than just tunes to play in the background. I would argue it does it better than any game on the N64. It's hard to single out just one song, but out of all of them, the Forest Temple theme sticks out the most to me. As the first dungeon in the game that you tackle as an adult, it's quite an experience. The music is full of such mystical sound, almost like a cloud of fog rolling over the temple. Vines and trees are growing and threaded throughout the whole temple as these voices echo in the background, the soft bounce of the flute fading in and out. It really makes you feel like you're inside of this large, empty, cavernous temple. And the music does a beautiful job of feeling that reverberation and the sound bouncing back off of those walls at you. There's something about it that makes the player feel like they're stepping into a space that hasn't been traversed in ages, a relic of its time. Oddly calming, but with a slight sense of dread and suspense as you delve deeper into the temple and go further into your journey to save Hyrule. Well, that about wraps up what I wanted to cover today. Thanks for tuning in, as always. I appreciate it. And by the way, before you go, don't forget to see you on the next episode, Copbox. I'm gonna talk about money.